Alrighty. So the next one we are going to look at, which is our last one of the day, is going to be the quotient rule. The last one we are going to look at today is the quotient rule. And just like before, we're going to come back to what that rule is. I like to start with what you're actually doing before we go into it. So leave a couple lines, give yourself some space. And then down here, we are going to start with some examples. All right. So example number 1 is I have x to the 8th over x squared. X to the 8th over x squared. So remember how before we kind of expanded it out? So let's do the same thing here. So I'm going to write my x's 8 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So I have 8 x's on the top. I have 2 x's on the bottom. So I have 8 x's on the top part of the fraction and 2 on the bottom. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cross out where x's line up. So here they line up. Here they line up. So I'm left with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 x's on top. I'm left with 6 x's on top. All right? So let's try another one. Y to the 3rd over y to the 6th. Y to the 3rd over y to the 6th. So again, I'm going to start with my fraction. How many y's would be on top? 1, 2, and 3. How many would be on bottom? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Good. And then same thing that I did before. Cross out where I have them on top and bottom. That's a pair. That's a pair. That's a pair. This time they're left in the bottom. So what number do you think in my answer? Would I need to put on top? A 1. Good. So I would have 1 on the top. And then on the bottom, I would still keep my y to the 3rd. On the top, I would have 1. And on the bottom, I would have y to the 3rd. All right. Now, we're going to do an example where it's not just one letter. All right. So this one's going to be a little bit more funky, but I promise you'll be fine. So what if we have 2 squared, x to the 3rd, y to the 4th x, all over 4 x squared, y to the 6th. All right. This has got a lot going on, right? So let's start with 2 2's. Then we have 1, 2, 3 x's. 1, 2, 3, 4 y's, and another x. Okay. So remember that IXL that you were working on last time? That's kind of keep that in mind as you look at this where those x's are placed. And then I just have 1, 4. I have 2 x's. And notice how I kind of put the 4 with the number, and then I kind of put my x's with my x's to make my life easier. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So cross out 1, 2. Cross out 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I have 4 on top.